one of the most sought after rear-wheel drive Nissans, Aidan. This is the GTT R34, yeah?
Yes, yeah, correct. Yeah, it's been originally an auto one.
Okay.
It's been manual swapped, and then I picked it up earlier in the year as it was someone's track car.
Oh, all right.
So it was caged, no interior, no cluster, no key barrel, and went to a bit of work to try and get it back.
We were just talking about that earlier with someone else, that there's so many cars now that have been turned from race cars essentially back to street cars.
Yeah, and yeah, it's interesting going the other way. My other car's an S15, which I've gone very much from a street car down the deep rabbit hole, and then I've got this to do the opposite, which probably not the smartest thing to do. But
was it easy to re-register being a track car?
Yeah, it already had Rego on it, which was very lucky considering its amount of modification that was done to it.
Yeah. So have you tamed it right down, or is it still pretty hot under the bonnet, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Bit of both?
Yeah. It's had a hot side conversion a few times.
Yeah. Has it got a built engine then, if it's done?
Apparently it's kind of one of those, there's no receipts, but here's an SAU post from 2011, it's built. Yeah, it's still definitely got a little bit going on, like you can hear the cams. The VCT's obviously bypassed, it's got some cam gears on it or something. It hauls, it's very laggy, but it's...
I thought it wouldn't be so laggy. Don't these have the better... Oh, you've just said it's got aftermarket cams.
Yeah, they've put some very lovely sounding cams in it, but they've got some cam gears on it too. I don't know who did it, but it's definitely not... Like, the VCT solenoid is all there, but it's definitely not running. Like, it's kind of like driving an NA car up until about $5,000.
Really?
Yeah. But when it comes on, it comes on. Yeah.
What does it got, like a T51 on it or something?
No, it's a GDX Gen 2. I just can't remember exactly what size. I think it's a 3076 or a 3071. I would think it has to be a 76 given...
I would have thought with that size turbo it should be pretty responsive.
That's what I would have thought too. Like my SR20 used to run a similar size and it was happy days, but that still had VCT. Yeah, it's definitely not the prettiest condition. I think it hasn't got much attention in the 7 or so months I've owned it. I just want to say right now, I did not paint that silicon joiner.
You're saying it didn't paint this work of art here?
It came with that. I was like, wow, okay.
Have you had any problems with it? Has it been okay? Or?
No, it's been fine so far. I've taken it to Winton just once, just to sort of, get the eye in. Wasn't the same as driving, like a prepped track car. By the time I took it to Winton, the cage was out of it, stock seats.
But it's still got a fair bit of suspension work done to it.
Yeah, it's got some shock works in it, thankfully, which is fantastic because
some of the best in the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wouldn't go anywhere else. And then it came with the Alcons on it, which was really nice. So
I noticed that brake upgrades aren't cheap these days.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I picked it up as well as a track car to go backwards into a straight car, because it came with a lot of fruit. Alcons, Haltech, GDX, PWR. Got a Z-Tune kit on order, so like with the fenders as well, so I haven't really bothered to purchase wheels for it until after that gets put on, because then obviously
I should be able to sit out for it. I don't mind the look of it as is, but
it's good for the moment.
That's me. I'm not a huge fan of body kits. This bonnet though is pretty functional.
Yeah, you can saw it's hanging on for dear life. It has a little rain plate which you can take off, which is good for track days. But yeah, that's just a rep Z-Tune bonnet, which it was carbon when I got it and gave it a quick lick of paint so it didn't attract so much attention.
You're one of the smart people who actually paints carbon fibre instead of having a car that looks like it's come from the wreckers with...
If it was like a genuine carbon, like dry carbon Z-Tune one, I probably would have been a bit more hesitant, but yeah, I think for this guy, I was like,
the front bars, the front lip's a bit knocked around. It's pretty hard to keep these in mint condition on the street, though.
Yeah,
you could hit something.
Unfortunately, where the car lives most of its life is a dirt driveway. It's not very forgiving, so it's had a few excavations trying to get in and out.
Have you got any other plans to it, or are you sort of happy with the way it is?
Aside from doing the Z-Tune kit, because my big gripe is, like, I think it looks good, but I really want the width of the GTR fenders. And then I can get, some nice 10.5-inch wheels, probably C28s under it. And then once that's done, like, I'm pretty happy. The engine at some point is going to need attention, but...
Oh, it's never ending.
That's sort of, it's not planned, it's just, it's going to happen at one point.
Were you only after the 34 model?
Yeah, I'm so unoriginal. Like, I have had an S15 for 10 years and I always wanted a 34 too, so that's
Well, it's a
me
bit
done
cheaper
and
than
done.
buying a GDR, isn't it?
Yeah, like obviously that's a whole nother thing these days. Yeah, that was sort of the good thing with this being a track car, that a lot of people probably weren't willing to go to the effort of getting it regoed or doing the work that it needed at the time, you know, taking out the cage and like
Did you
there
have
was a
any
lot of
trouble finding interior parts?
there was a bit of effort, you know, trying to get seatbelt buckles, seats themselves, bits of floor mats and stuff like that. And like he had a cluster for it as well and a key barrel. Thankfully, those weren't installed. But yeah, like luckily, there's a few good blokes around Southeast here in Melbourne that, you know, they'll sort of wreck them from home. And there was one gentleman who was fantastic for me. Actually, he had like 34 shells just on his front lawn, and he's like, yeah, go nuts. I was like, okay,
Nice.
fine, this.
That's a factory sunroof?
Yeah, which I thought that was kind of another thing that made me like it too. I was like, you know, for something I wanted as a street car, I was like, hell yeah, sunroof. Yeah, it pushes a lot to the catch can. That's one thing I wasn't really prepared for compared to like SR20 Life. You know,
That's pretty
that
normal.
wasn't a thing.
Pretty
But
common with RBs, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what like I had no idea when I bought it, and then after, you know, talking with Skyline people, I was like, oh, that's normal to push like a litre every session. Oh, okay.
You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think he's just painted over the
clamps too, yeah.
clamps. He must have just,
I don't know.
maybe he's just masked it up and just painted
Gone for full
everything.
send.
Yeah. Oh well.
Hasn't broken yet.